So this morning we've come to Oakley Farming Ltd in Shropshire. So we're joined by Mike and Miles Oakley. So maybe Mike, could you introduce the farm and the history?
Yeah, good morning. As it said, we're farming as Oakley Farming Ltd now. We went limited in 2010 to help the accounts and tax system. Started here myself in 1989 when I got married. I have 4 sons, 3 not in the business, and Miles, the 3rd son, in the business. My grandfather came to the farm, a tenanted farm, in 1931, 230-acre farm. My father took over in 1953, and I took over, as I said, in 1989 when I got married. We bought the farm off the estate in 1995, and then expanded it to where it is now, with another farm purchased in 2012 up the road, and another one rented a 1.5 miles away, that's been about 8 years now we've had that. So plus other folks growing maize for us, and we now grow probably 600 plus acres of maize and 600 acres of grass, and all the cows are fed inside, all kept inside all the time, because we haven't got the acreage around us to graze. So and that's a little bit about the history of it, and we've just kept expanding. And we used to run a fly-in herd because after we purchased this farm and the other farm, we got a lot of heifers around us in young stock, and I needed money for the mortgage rather than the small rent that we had before. So we sold the heifers and bought more cows, and we've been running that system pretty much ever since. So present day is Miles is in charge now, so I think possibly hand over to Miles now, and he'll tell you about the system that he runs.
So about 10 years ago, Miles, I was here, and I think it was before the decision was made to build a rotary, and you were looking at various locations in the yard. And I think you were maybe milking about 500 at the time, and it was a grazing system as well. So obviously a lot of changes happened since, and cow numbers have gone up, but the system has changed. Maybe what has changed since?
So going back to when we started the grazing system, we went out to New Zealand in 2001 as a family, after being wiped out with foot and mouth on the compulsory cull. Decided to adopt that system when I was very little, so I don't remember a huge amount about it, but we got up to sort of 400 or 500 grazing by the late sort of 2007, 2008. And then, as Dad was saying before, trying to push cow numbers, push milk yield, so we looked to house cows, moved away from a Jersey cross, Frisian cross type cow. We're now running all Holsteins, all year round calving, calving 150 cows a month, plus followers. We've just recently gone into breeding our own replacements in the last couple of years, pushing now 11,500 litres a cow, compared to about 3-4 years ago, well, before we moved into the rotary, sorry, in September 2015, we were milking 700 to 800, still grazing low yielders at that point, and that was through a 2040 swing over parlour, averaging just over 8,000 litres a cow. Within 12 months of moving into the rotary, we pushed that to 9,000, and then 12 months in we decided to go 3 times a day milking. Still grazing low yielders at that point, which we were still milking twice, and all the highs 3 times, and we soon got up to 11,000 litres on that within a couple of years. So we now don't graze anything, everything's housed all year, including young stock, dry cows and all the milking cows, for better feed management, better cow management, and just really trying to push yield now. So that's where we're at today.
Okay, how many staff are employed on the farm?
So there's myself, and then there's sort of three main people that we've got. We've got 2 excellent herd managers, one of which manages the day-to-day running of the cows, one of which is very much a young stock manager, and then we've got a main tractor driver who does all the field operations and feeding. And as Dad's taken a bit of a back step, I'm starting to do more of the business management, and then we have about 9 or 10 full-time staff on site and 3 or 4 relief night milkers that come in and just do night milkings, and that's all they do. So
People management is key to the success here too.
massive.
Without a key team, it's...
Without people, you don't have a big business. You've
Yeah.
got to manage people properly to be able to manage the business. So and have people you can trust and rely on, which is a big thing.
Okay. So we're going to have a tour today, I suppose, to see all the various parts of the operation.
Yes, yeah.
I guess it all starts with the milk and what ends up in that milk tank here.
Yeah.
So what size is your milk and how often does it get collected?
So the milk tank holds 30,000 litres. We are currently on 3 times a day collection because 2 milkings overflows it quite considerably. So there's about 1,400 going through the parlour at the minute, and we're sending about 52 to 53,000 litres a day.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Why did you leave the tank, say, exposed to the elements out here? Is it?
well, I don't know really.
This is it's an outdoor tank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it just seemed logical.
Yeah.
We moved it from the previous site with the previous parlour and brought it over here when we worked on the rotary. So
Plenty of air around it, and
Yeah.
yeah, great.
Potentially looking to put in a second one at some point just to give us the flexibility. Obviously, with being 3 times a day collection, we are very reliant on that tanker being in the yard at the right time to collect the milk. So we could well look to put a second one up just to give us a bit more flexibility going forward.
Okay, so who buys your milk?
It's all sold to Muller on a direct contract. So
Okay. And that milk ends up in a bottle, or
it's all liquid milk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So your milking parlour then, as we go in, it's a rotary, is it?
Yeah. So do you want to walk in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what make is it and what size is it?
So 60-point Waikato rotary. We installed this and commissioned it in September 2015.
Yeah.
We were milking 800 cows at the time, twice a day. Like I said before, within 12 months we went to 3 times a day. Milking's now taking about 4.5 hours for 1,400 to go through. That includes the antibiotic cows at the end.
Yeah. So what are your milking times?
4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then, 4 o'clock in the morning, lunchtime milking's 12 o'clock, and then 8 o'clock at night.
Right, okay. So what technology have you on it? And
So when we moved from the old parlour, we had basically no technology at all, very much simple parlour, milking, grazing cows. When we moved into here, we installed Afimilk pedometers on all the cows. So that does all of our milk yield data, it does all of our feed to yield on the parlour, all of our heat detection, conductivity for early mastitis detection, and also we weigh the cows twice a day, which is quite important for fresh cow management. You can really pick and choose which cows you need to go and look at, which is really key for a herd manager on this sort of size. Everything flags up on a computer system for him to go and check rather than him having to look at every single cow. So
you have a lot of data coming at you, and a lot of people would say, look, can you actually handle the data? There's so much data comes at you.
So
do you pick key elements of it, or what do you do with it?
So yeah, the software system is all set up that it filters through. So on the software, you come in after each milking, and there's a list of 2 cows with high conductivity to go and check for mastitis, or there's a list of 4 fresh cows which are losing weight. So it in theory, if everything's working properly, which it does most of the time, you should just go on your computer and have a select few cows to look at, which is filtered through all that data for you.
Okay.
So
yeah,
and then last year, so May 22, we made the decision to go to ADF, which has really helped with our mastitis. We were running 2 people on prep and 1 on post-dipping before. We've now moved that person from post-dipping round to prep, so we now have a pre-foam, 1 person pre-foaming, 1 person wiping, and 1 person putting cups on. And then this is checked, the ADF is checked on the first 2 groups by the herd managers.
What do you mean by that?
Just to make sure everything's functioning properly, cows are milked out properly. The fresh cows are milked first, so it's important to check those cows. And then after that, we just leave it to get on with it.
So what is the ADF system doing?
Once the cows finish milking, the vacuum drops off. Teat dip is injected through each cluster onto the teat, As it then drops off, it's then being flushed with peracetic acid as well in between each cow. So it's a dipping and flushing system.
Okay, yeah. So what benefits have you seen since changing over to it? What improvements have you seen?
The cytus rates have halved.
Yeah.
Cows milk out better because it's also got a vented liner on it. So more even milking. Yeah, cows milking out a lot quicker, so it's increased our throughput of the parlour as well, our efficiency of what we're doing. And yeah, just...
So how often do you have to change the liner?
I think we're every 40 days at the minute.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of feeding then on the parlour, it's one or two feeds coming in?
It's just one feed coming in.
Yeah.
It's all from a central reader. So the cow walks on, gets read at stall 1, stall 3 she gets fed. That's just an 18% high energy, high starch cake. And a maximum a cow would have would be 4.5 kilos over 3 milkings. So.
Okay, and that's feed to yield effectively, is it?
Feed to yield. So
okay.
When the cow calves down, she gets stepped up on a set rate to about, I think it's 3 to 4 kilos at a certain number of days of milk. And then after that she moves on to feed to yields, and then stage of lactation. When she's sort of a month off drying off, we tend to reduce the corn going into them, so it helps with milk yield drop.
Okay. So as behind us here is the wash area, is it the wash corner?
This is wash corner, yeah. So yeah, hot water tank, all automated wash system. So as soon as milking's finished, we can just connect the pipe up, press the button and go, and it's left to it. Dosatrons on all the chemicals. This is all, we said about water before, this is all linked into mains water. Yeah. Because we have had problems with borehole water being quite high in manganese, which basically eats heating elements. So we've moved all this onto mains water. Are you using any heat recovery, or is it all electricity to heat the water? There's heat recovery from the ice bank as well, yeah.
Okay, so an ice bank as well. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, the milk's, we're on a big plate cooler, which is 50% borehole water, 50% ice water from the ice bank. Yeah. Milk is dropping into the tank at about 4 degrees.
Okay, So you have a couple of roller doors, two on this side and two on the far side. What's their function? Or?
Very much in the summer for airflow. Yeah. Everything else is insulated panels, so it's nice and warm in here in the winter. You can open them up in the summer, and it makes a pleasant environment to milk in for the staff. So.
Yeah. So what are we looking at here?
That's our underpass into the centre.
Yeah.
Touch wood, we don't have to go in there too often to sort problems out, but it's very handy when you do have a problem, or when we milk record every month as well, so it's pretty handy for that. Okay, so you have an operator inside there if you're inside for the milk recording? For milk recording, there's 3 of us in there. Okay,
and what are you doing there when you're in there?
One person, so all of our milk meters and everything are in the middle, so all of the ID is in the middle as well, because everything just gets sent back to the computers to go through. So there's one person writing numbers out, 2 people taking samples.
Okay, yeah, very good.
Mm-hmm. We did consider, when we put the parlour in, all of the AFI meters, all of the sort of identification boxes, because they could have been on the outside of the parlour, but for risk of damaging them, plus the skill set of the staff to actually use the data real time, we didn't really see was the right option. So it was almost easier and better to send everything back to the computer and have a good set of eyes on the data there, rather than try and have people trying to interpret it on the outside.
So we might have a walk down here.
Yeah.
So all your buckets as we pass it?
Yeah, that's all our colostrum management and dump buckets for Yoni's cows. So, and spares and repairs for if something goes, if a pipe goes on night milking or something like that, it's handy. Yeah. Just for them to be able to.
Okay. So all the electronics is I suppose, it's well protected from water as well.
There's all undercover.
Which is important.
Yeah. So we upgraded these milk meters about 18 months ago to an AFI MPC compared to the cheaper version, which we did have in before. Yeah. Basically, not got forced into it, but the technology's great, but it advances pretty quickly, and they were stopping the support on the old one. Yeah. The old one wouldn't work with new Windows software on the computer, so we had to have new Windows software, which meant we had to upgrade our milk meters. Okay. So But we're getting more and more, so this does a lot more recordings in terms of milk letdown, lag times from sort of milk prep and things like that.
Okay,
So,
and is it a cup that fills and empties?
yeah,
or
fills and empties, yeah.
Okay. So what other functionalities here, say, or what else can you do?
So again, the reason it all came into here was that basically we don't do anything with them during milking.
Yeah.
This is where you operate, so if they were on the outside, it was where you drop your unit for vacuum, control your ACRs, everything like that, whereas we've just got a trigger switch on the outside for every unit.
Okay.
If you're in the middle, you can identify cows in here,
Yeah.
you can put them to sort. They flash red if it's a cow with high conductivity, so you can actually, again, you can tell, but you can go and check that one cow, but it's easier for us to just look at them on the computer and just go and check them in a cubicle after if we have to. So, yeah.
Okay. And some of the ADF tech is here then as well?
Yeah, all the ADF tech's in the middle as well, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
Greasing and oiling of the track, is there much
It's all
maintenance in that?
automatic.
Yeah.
So we've just moved on to that in the last year as well. So we are, what are we, 7.5 years in. Everything's on rollers, and then there's, on the I-beam which it runs on, there is a wearing plate. We are now, after 7.5 years, just about to change the rollers. It runs very smoothly, but there's just slight wear on them. So before it does any damage to the wearing plate, we're going to change the rollers now to keep that moving. So,
Okay. Steel wheels, am I right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. And there's an oiling plate here then, is there?
Yeah, 3 oiling plates round
Yeah.
the parlour, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's obviously important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we put more rollers on than we needed to, basically, so if something did go wrong, then you've got backup. But we also have 2 drive units on it, so if something goes wrong with the drive unit, you can still milk with one.
Okay.
And then everything else we have got a plan B of. We've just put in a second vacuum pump. So again, if something goes wrong on the first one, it's just a matter of switching it over and carry on milking.
Okay.
The last thing you need when there's only 3 hours between milkings is a big breakdown and you can't milk your cows.
You'd
So,
have chaos.
yeah.
Yeah. So this here then is a gland, is it for air and?
That's for the ADF, that is,
ADF
yeah.
system,
Air,
okay.
water, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And T-dip, so.
Very good. One milk pump then? One milk pump?
1 milk pump,
Yeah.
but again, there is a backup.
Yeah.
There is a backup one here, so if something does go wrong, it's just a matter of
whip it
swapping
in
them
and whip it
over.
out quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Just move here to the office. Or this is your cups on anyway, is it?
Yeah, so the mats represent each place. So we have a foam cup pre-foamer set up to here, an ambic pre-foamer. So there's one person foaming, then needs to be a minimum of 30-second gap for the chemical to work.
Okay.
To a person wiping with reusable wipes, which we run through a washing machine at 90 degrees.
Use once, one per cow, or how often?
We use 1 per 2, we flip.
Yeah.
So one wipe, 1 cow, flip.
Yeah.
Just because of the speed the parlour's going at, it's probably quite difficult to keep up.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that and get the cows very clean than worry about that.
Fine.
And then another 30-second gap or so, 30 to 50-second gap for cups on.
Okay.
So we did these with the drums because we used to find that with night milkers, you'd soon have all 3 people stood next to each other.
Yeah.
So the herdsman got sick of it, so he filled these with water and put drums there to stop people doing it.
Road
And it's
bats.
worked, so
Yeah.
works very well.
Yeah, good. So you've plenty of light then as well here, just at the key points.
Yeah, those have just been installed in the last 12 months as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the LEDs do a fantastic job anyway, but this just gives you that extra visibility around the back of the cow.
Yeah. So you have a manifold then here, decent manifold with plenty of
Yeah, that's all
water coming to that point.
water coming to that point and then splitting off to around the parlour and down to the washing facilities and foot bath down the bottom. So.
Okay. So what controls have you here then, say? What options have you here with
This
box?
runs all the parlour basically.
Yeah.
Parlour and backing gate is all that runs.
Yeah. What's this doing?
So that was an MPC basically. When we had the old ones, the old meters, all that would control all the data to send back.
Okay.
And then the other thing we have just is, so now in the last few months, we've stopped cows coming round again. So we've got the bale gates behind. If a cow was still milking before, they would come round a second time. To help with throughput of cows and the speed of milk, the way the ADFs help with the speed of milking, we've tied all those up. So we're manual now. If there's a cow wants to come round, we just take the string off so the gate comes down so it can come round.
Okay.
But that's very few that we have to do that with.
Often.
No, and there's a trigger switch 2 stalls before the bridge,
Yeah.
where every unit comes off.
Okay.
So every cow is just 1 lap, off
Yeah.
she comes.
Fair enough.
Particularly with 3 times a day, they get milked within 8 hours.
Yeah,
So
it's not a huge
yeah.
issue. So what are we looking at the box up here then? With
that's
number
all
one?
the electronic reader.
Yeah.
That sends, when a cow walks on, it reads her here,
Yeah.
sends activity data back to there, registers her in that stall, feeds her the right amount based on her feed to yield. Then when she walks off after milking, it sends her milk yield data back. They then follow a race down, go over the weigh cell with an automatic seg gate and automatic foot bath as well.
What's the white piece here then, the cylinder?
That's the Afi reader.
Okay.
That's
reading the leg, is it?
That's reading the pedometer
Okay,
on the leg, yeah.
And that's the only place where the ID is done, is that right?
There and on the seg gate.
As it leaves?
Yeah, as it
okay,
leaves,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. So collecting yard anyway, so let's have a look. So you've it well grooved
Yeah,
with a strong slope as well.
well grooved, and then we have rubber matted the bridge, basically turning points, just to aid with stress on cows' feet.
Yeah.
We have looked to rubber mat the deck as well at some point, but that's sort of an ongoing process.
Okay. So how many cows can you fit in here?
You fit 400 in here
Yeah.
easily. So yeah, milked in groups of 200.
Yeah.
As soon as one group finishes, they shut one group in, bring the next group out.
Yeah.
And
And the
yeah,
backing gate is key to that.
backing gate's key to that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And for cow flow.
Yeah.
So we don't tend to push them too hard because, you have the wrong person on it. So there's a light sensor set on it, so when it touches the cow's legs, it stops.
Okay.
So you can't push the cows too hard.
Yeah. And say it's electrically driven then, is it, the gate?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. And you have it well grooved as well, the floor?
Yeah, so this is where we couldn't get to with the groover. So this, again, being scraped a few times a day, did go quite slippy. And we sort of scarified the top of this, which probably I would have rather have done the mini grooving, which is something which we've done only in the last few years.
Yeah.
This almost went almost too rough, went the other way.
Right.
And we did see bruising on cows' feet. So,
Right, yeah.
but now it's fine now.
Okay. Big fan then here, up here?
Yeah, just a bit of a trial for the summer,
Yeah.
basically. We've had it in for a good few years now, but it does just keep the cows cool.
Yeah.
What you do tend to find, though, is as long as the shutter doors are open, it's fine in the summer and it's cool in there. But if it is hot, you'll just have cows stood here underneath that fan and they won't go on the parlour.
They enjoy it?
Yeah, they love it. So,
Yeah, okay.
Again, long term, it would be something to look at, maybe not improving ventilation because it's good in there, but
Yeah.
maybe more fans in the parlour just to keep cows cool in the summer.
Okay, yeah. Let's have a look at the exit area, so on handling.
Yep.
So plenty of spaces to come off?
Yes, yeah. Just can't quite get in here with something to scrape it, so you've still got a manual scrape all of this. But so yeah, they finish milking, back off, turn around, head down this race, where they go through the seg gate and footbath.
Yeah.
We have a single file race used here. That's very good for TB testing. So we TB test as they come off the parlour.
Yeah.
Just have somebody running them down here, pushing them down here for TB testing. We then have an AI race in the middle for all of our vet routines and AIing.
Yeah. And that's where all your AI is done, is that right?
There, and yeah, they're all in this race as well.
Okay.
Sometimes we just run them straight off the parlour.
Yeah.
So, and the AIs are done as they come off the parlour as well. So that's they're straight back to the group, minimises stress.
Okay, maybe before we look at the drafting and the
Yeah.
footpath, your area here,
So,
what do you use this for?
So vet stand area, basically everything we need to use with the cows, medicine cabinet, AI flasks, all miscellaneous stuff that we use, so
Yeah.
sprays, tapes, paints, magnets for the cows, calcium. So
Yeah.
it's just handy that everything with cow management is in one place, basically.
Okay. And say, do you do many functions here at
So
that
yeah,
point?
we've got a portable vet stand.
Yeah.
So that's very handy for tail trimming, vaccinations. We used to do fresh cow checks on the parlour, but we now do that as part of our vet routine because it's just easier and quicker. So yeah, it gets used fairly regularly. Yeah.
So routines are probably a big important part of the farm too here. Just you've quite a few signs up with
Yes.
set routines that
It's
need to make the whole thing work.
Very much for ease of training staff.
Yeah.
Certainly ticks a box with a milk processor as well. If they're coming round, you can see that it's all well laid out, and everybody should be doing.
Yeah.
It's standardising that process basically across with 12 to 14 different people milking throughout the week.
Yeah.
That process is standardised.
Yeah.
So
You need a routine and
yeah.
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 So again, we're looking at a drafter and
Yeah.
the weigh cells
yeah.
again.
So the reader's just on the left-hand side here.
Yeah.
Weigh cell, we have a Texas gate system to keep every cow individual, which has really helped with seg gate accuracy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably getting 95 to 96% of cows now. We're not missing many.
Yeah.
So yeah, cow walks through there, gets read, weigh cell, seg gate, and then auto foot bath as well.
Okay. Weighing the cows there, say you're weighing them every day. So what actions are you doing based on that information?
So in particular, it's important for fresh cows. So one of our protocols on the software system will flag up if a fresh cow's losing a certain percentage of her body weight.
Yeah.
So you can go in and just make sure that she's all right, basically.
And
Yeah.
say in practical terms, are you talking over a week or 2 weeks or what, or days?
Over probably space of a week, yeah.
Yeah.
Does a weekly average and works it out sort of rolling
Yeah.
on what she's losing. So
Yeah. Does the cow have to stop on it, or can it reads the cows in terms of weighing?
it's long enough that she'll get all 4
Yeah.
feet on
Okay.
in emotion. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Moving on then to say to the hoof care
Yeah.
every day. They're going
Twice
through
a
it
day.
Twice a day.
Twice a day. So on the night milking, they don't go through this area at all.
Yeah.
They just go out the side.
Okay.
So yeah, twice a day gets refreshed every 200 cows. So basically every group has a new foot bath.
Yeah.
Uh,
Automated.
it's Automated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just with formalin at the minute.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, how are you?
That's Brian,
Hey Brian, how are you?
herdsman. So
Good. So, Miles, this is your office?
this is more Brian's office.
Brian's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A
So-
key part of the business anyway here.
Very much so. Yeah. So,
Managing cows.
yeah. This is where all the data gets sent back to, basically.
Yeah.
We run the Afimilk system for the milk recordings and everything, and then Brian, since he's been here, has installed Uniform Agri as well as his software system, which
Okay.
he's well versed in. So it's
So
a way
what-
to get the best out of it.
Okay, so what are you getting out of that system versus the Afimilk after you?
Just ease of management, isn't it, Brian? More than anything, it's just
More better data, like easier to use data, and yeah, record data better as well, and upload graphs and.
easier to interpret it, isn't it?
Okay.
So,
So is it taking a feed from Afimilk into Uniform?
Yes.
Okay.
All the milk weights now go into uniform, and then I put all the data in uniform, and then yeah, that gets stored all there.
Yeah. There's so much data coming at you. Is it you know, are farmers able to manage and use that data?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some people would say there's too much coming at them that they can't churn it, or
No, I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that.
it's filtering. It's having
Yeah.
a software system which filters through it, isn't it? So you're
Well,
not.
You use what you need to use. Like you don't need to use everything. Like,
Yeah.
but, no, it's brilliant. Like, yeah.
so what key reports are you pulling off it? Say what every day? What are you looking at?
Well, mastitis reports, fertility. We use the athlete for the mastitis reports, and brings up the sick cows. You set parameters for how much milk, difference you want, and then uniforms just does all your vet lists and feed and everything. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Compliance as well. Does it do that?
Yeah.
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 Very good.